Can you tell us your name, year, major, and the things that you're involved with at school?
Okay. My name is Emily Dinh. I'm a senior and a nursing major. And then I'm involved in a handful of things on campus, but like VSA is one I've been involved since my first year. And then I'm also involved in UFC and like Barrio and all of that. And then I'm an RA on campus, and I work a work study job with Super Copy and the transportation department, and I'm a nurse tech.
Wow.
Yes.
What's your reason or aspiration for nursing?
Okay, honestly, I picked nursing because of job security. Like, I thought like it was just not easy to get a job in nursing, but like, yeah, once you have the degree, it's kind of easy to get a job. I don't know. But I feel like going through the program and like learning about it, I feel like I do, or like I have like built a stronger passion for it. I feel like I've always wanted like one of those nurturing jobs. Like when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher, so I feel like that's always been something I've been interested in. Yeah.
What's an advice that you can give to nursing students?
My advice for nursing students is to have fun, because I had so much fun. I had a blast. But I feel like I've been able to balance it pretty well. I feel like a lot of my good friends I made are in the nursing program too, so I feel like we study together and we're like productive together, but we also have our fun time. So just like being able to balance all of that.
How do you balance like having like to be in a lot of curricular like stuff and also to work while being in a nursing program? Because like honestly, ever since I like came to SU, I've always like honestly actually admired you and watched you, and I thought like, oh, I can do this and this because Emily did it somehow. But what is that somehow, and what like helped you really be in everything?
I feel like it always feels like I'm doing something. Honestly, like sometimes I still question like how I'm even able to manage that. But I think just like being able to take care of yourself, like sophomore year-ish, I started going to the gym a little bit more, and like when you take care of yourself, you start to feel more confident, so like that kind of helps you get through the day and like get through all the things you want to do. Yeah, and sleep.
How do you find time to sleep and study if you're like everywhere and working a lot?
I feel like I study best like during the night, or like obviously for finals or like exams or anything, I cram within the last few days, but I feel like it's productive for me. I kind of work well under pressure, so that's worked for me. But yeah, I feel like just having like a good support system. Like I said, a lot of my friends, like my closest friends, are in the nursing program with me, so we kind of go through all of it together, so that's been nice.
Do you know what you want to do after you graduate?
Well, after I graduate, I'm gonna travel a bunch first, like a lot. I know a lot of people in my cohort already secured jobs after grad, but I want time for myself because, like I said, like self-care and like resting and stuff is really important to me. So I'll rest and travel, and then after that, I'm really interested in like OB, like women's health and stuff. So I want to either do labor and delivery or like postpartum. But I'm also open to other things just because I know that OB route can be really competitive. It's like a lot of people are interested in it, and it is like a specialty, which can be hard after grad. But yeah, I feel like because I had my practicum in OB and then I work my nurse tech job in an OB unit, I feel like I have a good shot. So that's my plan. Yeah.
Yay. Are you planning to do any like graduate school, or do you think you're pretty set?
I don't know yet. I feel like maybe in a couple years I'll get my master's, because I know there's a lot of like online master's program for nursing too, so I feel like that might be a little bit more manageable, but at the moment I do not plan to go back for my NP or anything like that.
Okay, nice. So more about you. Where were you born and raised?
I was born here in Washington. I grew up in like the greater Seattle area my whole life, so still here.
How has, I I guess like, oh sorry, this isn't one of the questions. So that's why I'm pulling it at the top of my head. But wherever you were born and raised, like how was it like to be like Vietnamese? Was it something that was a big deal for you growing up, or did it stand out to you, or were you just like, I guess, in a neighborhood where it's like mostly one certain ethnicity?
I feel like in my neighborhood I grew up with a lot of people of color, so I didn't really feel like out of place or anything. And then when I went to elementary school, I feel like majority of my class was POC, but I feel like there was always a part of me that like did want to be more like Western, you know, just because I feel like it's just hard, you know, just in society. But in elementary school I had a lot of POC, but then when I went to high school I switched to a different school or like a different area, and I feel like it was more like white, and I feel like that was a little bit hard for me because of course like I don't really know how to explain it. It's just hard, you know.
How so? Is it like it's hard to connect to them, or like it's just like a whole different energy? Maybe?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how to say this. Like, I don't know if this is like appropriate. I mean, it's not inappropriate, but like, I feel like in my high school, like a lot of the people that were more well known or like popular were like the white kids, and like I feel like it was hard to be well known as like a person of color, you know, and also because that area that I went to high school in was a little bit like on the wealthier side, you know. So I feel like being a person of color and not like having like or living the lifestyle that they were living was difficult, just because I felt out of place or like I wouldn't be able to be a part of their group or something like that. So yeah.
Were you also like, I'm like one of them too, but were you also like, oh, I just wish I was a little bit more white?
Yeah, I feel like a big part of that was also like wanting more Western parents or like a more like Western mindset from them, you know. I feel like growing up with Asian parents can be hard. Like you feel like you can't always talk to them about everything, or like there's just certain topics that they don't really touch on, you know. And I feel like one example, I feel like sleepovers was a big deal. I feel like a lot of like white kids they are able to just have sleepovers, but when I was little, like I could only have sleepovers with my cousins, you know, and I didn't really understand why. Or like I feel like when Asian parents have these rules, they don't really explain to you why they have them in place. So I feel like I wish I was just, or they were just more open to me. But like looking back at it, I feel like I understand a little bit more. I don't know if that really answers the question, but
What area did you grow up in?
I'm from like Burien, White Center area, and then when I went to high school, I went to Des Moines, which is like only like 20 minutes south of that. But I feel like that area, I don't know where you're from, but like that area has a lot of kids from Normandy Park, which is like known to be like a pretty rich area. So yeah.
How is it like going from like a POC like middle school and then going straight to like a school that's like really white? How did that like feel or to you?
I feel like my friend group changed a little bit. Like obviously in elementary school I was friends with a lot of like other Viet kids, and like that was nice. And also like a handful of them also went to church with me, and I also go to like a Vietnamese church, so like I feel like we just grew up together. But then when I transitioned to like the high school, I feel like a lot of the people that I was interacting with were more white, so then I ended up being friends with some of those people by default, and I feel like that kind of changed me a little bit.
How so?
Just like liking more Western things, or like I don't know, just pushing away from my culture a little bit more. Yeah.
Did it bother you like the fact that like you saw yourself pushing away from the culture when you were like hanging out with like more like oh, it sounds so bad. Wait, my question sounds so bad.
It's okay.
No, I meant it as like oh, I don't know how to phrase it, not in a bad way. Never mind, scratch it completely.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounded really bad. Sorry. to ask more about just your high school experience. But I don't know what to say. Okay, I'll just ask another question. If I think about it, I'll go back. How has being Vietnamese American shaped your actions growing up and your perception of self?
One more time.
How has being Vietnamese American shaped your actions growing up and your perception of self?
I don't know if this really answers the question, but I feel like growing up, like a lot of like Vietnamese parents, especially like immigrants, they don't talk about mental health and stuff like that. And so I feel like growing up, that was something that I valued a little bit more just because like I didn't get it from my parents, or like we didn't really touch on that. So like in high school and like even now, like that's something that I value. Like I have a minor in psychology. I don't know, I feel like just growing up, your parents don't talk to you about those things, or like I don't really know how to expand on it. But it's just like you shouldn't talk about it, you know? Or like if I tried to open up about it, I feel like sometimes it would get shut down. So I feel like it changed my perception of self just because I feel like I had to teach myself about it in some way. I don't really know how to explain it.
You kind of already answered this one, but have you faced cultural challenges in school or in general in your community?
I feel like, yeah, like in school, even though like in high school there weren't as many like POC as there was compared to like elementary, middle school, I feel like I was never bullied or like judged or anything like that necessarily, but it was just feeling out of place, you know, like feeling like I didn't belong personally, but there wasn't really like something that like targeted me or anything like that. You know, it just feels weird being like an odd one out in a group, but there was no like nothing crazy, you know. But I feel like I did do like T&U growing up, right? And I feel like I found like a sense of belonging there, just because like everyone was Viet and like they grew up like me and like our families were pretty similar, so I feel like that was nice. Yeah, but I did leave in 2020, 2021-ish, just because that was like COVID time, and I feel like when COVID happened, a lot of things changed, and like I don't know, I guess that's part of my high school experience too, that like there was COVID. But yeah, I was also like going to college, so that's why I kind of left it, but I'm still like in touch with a lot of those people now, I feel like. So yeah.
How do you stay in touch with like your culture or the Vietnamese community growing up and now?
Well, like I said, I was in uni, so I feel like I just grew up with a lot of people that were like me, and then now, even though I'm not a part of it, I still like go home pretty often, and like I'll go to church with my family, and like I'll still like engage in like the events that they have over the summer and whatnot, so I feel like I'm still connected to it. And then like now being in VSA, I feel like there's a lot of people like me too, so it's been nice to meet them like in college.
And then this next question is super broad, but what does being Vietnamese American mean to you?
I feel like this is my default answer for a lot of things, but being Vietnamese American to me is just finding a balance. I feel like obviously like because we are American, you know, we grow up in like American school systems and whatnot, so like the Vietnamese aspect kind of plays into that because we have like family and friends that might also be Viet, and that kind of helps us keep our culture close. I feel like, sorry, I don't know how to answer this question. No, I don't know. Skip.
Okay.
The first one was good.
It's
Finding
hard.
balance is good.
I know it was like a pretty like yeah, like a broad question, but I feel like it was just hard. I don't know.
It's okay. What cultural teachings have you learned from your life or just family that you still stick with now?
Wait, repeat it one.
What cultural teachings have you learned from your life or family that you stick with?
Cultural teaching that I learned from family was to respect your elders. I feel like it's always applied to my life, but growing up a little bit more, I feel like, or when I was like a teenager, I feel like I had this phase where like I would kind of like rebel against my parents a little bit, but I feel like just respecting people that are older than you, is something that I still value. Yeah.
Time check, it is 42, 43, just turned 43.
That was like a little late.
How do you plan on carrying out your Vietnamese culture and connections either in the future or after college? Yeah. How do you plan to stay in touch with like the Vietnamese side of you after college and in the future?
Well, one of my plans after graduation, like after I travel and everything, I want to apply to work at this hospital in Burien, which is like where I grew up, and I feel like I've heard a lot about that hospital, about how a lot of their patients are POC. I've even heard that from like people who work there, like the recruiters and stuff. So I feel like to keep my culture, like be able to connect with others too, just being like open-minded a little bit. In terms of Vietnamese culture, I speak Vietnamese, but I feel like my vocabulary could be better, so I was gonna download Duolingo and like try to like pick up more medical related terms, but even just in general, like just improve my vocabulary a little bit. I don't know if that's dumb, like yeah, and then like in terms of like a future, more in the future, I do hope that like if and when I have kids that they can also learn Vietnamese, even if it's just a little bit. I'm just nervous though because like since I do like I am like Vietnamese American and I've like adapted to a lot of Western standards that I'm not really gonna know how to teach them, but I'm hoping to like still be close with my family and like they can teach them too.
And then these two questions are pretty easy. Do you have a favorite Vietnamese saying?
No. I don't know.
Do you have, or what's your favorite Vietnamese food that is not basic?
Not basic. What is not basic?
What's on your mind right now?
I don't know.
We can start with like your actual favorite.
Okay. I really like bún bò Huế, but I feel like that's a little bit basic.
Yeah,
but I
that's
also really like gỏi cuốn, which is also a little basic. I'm trying to think like something crazy. Like no.
Have you been to Vietnam recently? Is there anything like that you had there that blew your mind a little?
I don't know. I forgot everything. I don't know if this is Vietnamese or not. But I love silver young. Like,
I think it
like,
is.
yeah, okay, because I'm
Or-
like, it's like an Asian fruit,
Yeah.
but it's really popular in Vietnam. But I love durian. Like, growing up, I feel like everyone says that it smells bad and stuff, but I never thought that. Like, it just,
I can't smell it.
I love it.
Do you
Like,
smell it?
like, I kind of know what they're talking about, but it doesn't smell bad to me. It
Yeah.
just, I don't
It
know.
smells pretty bad.
I
don't like it.
love it.
I like it.
There is like a durian ice cream at Costco, and it's so good to me. It's so good.
It's so good. And they like actually have like real durian chunks.
Yeah,
too.
and then it has like that like stringy, like, you know, because sometimes when you eat
Yeah.
a durian, there's like, yes, I
Mhm.
love that.
Me too. Did you see it come out with like different other flavors? too
Yes, I
recently? There was, like,
did. There's like a
tart?
pandan one. Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know what exactly that
Yeah.
is, but I want to try that. Anyways, okay, 3 last questions. And this one is more like a kind of like a reflection-y thing, I guess. Not really, but anyways, what does success mean to you as a college student, Vietnamese American, and a young adult?
I feel like because I value family, I feel like success to me means making them proud, but like more importantly, making myself proud. I feel like in Vietnamese culture, they really value education, and I don't necessarily think that like you have to, you know, I mean, well, I am in college, but like it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has to go to college and like achieve all these things. But I feel like just being comfortable and being in a good place, where you're able to take care of yourself. Yeah.
What lessons or advice would you give to another college student, Vietnamese American, or someone in the same major?
Have fun. I don't know. I feel like the only way that I was able to get through college is to like focus or balance both academics and like my personal time. I feel like if you dedicate too much time to academics, then you'll be sad. Like, you know, just to be real. Like, I feel like there has to be some kind of balance, and I feel like one way that I was able to find that, especially like in terms of culture, is being a part of VSA. Especially like my first year, I went to like so many new events, and like it was also new to me because I was a first year too. So that was really fun, and like just meeting new people, that was nice. But yeah, have fun.
And last one. What hope or message do you have for our Vietnamese culture and community?
I hope that in the future we're still able to like preserve our Vietnamese culture. I feel like a lot of the students here were kind of in the same boat where like our parents are immigrants. Not everyone, but I feel like a big chunk of like Vietnamese students here, not just here but like in general, just because of like the timeline of everything. So I hope that like when our generation grows up and has kids and everything, that we're still able to teach them like Vietnamese values and whatnot. So yeah. Like kind of got distracted. I was like,
Did they wave?
Huh?
Did they wave?
I don't know.
Wait,
They like slowed down, and I was like kind of looking
were they
at
walking this way?
Yeah, they just walked behind us. I was like,
Oh.
Vincent's already done this, and he might later.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, my answers aren't that good. I don't know.
No, they're
I didn't
good.
prepare
No,
well.
I like
I don't
it.
know what
I
I'm
like
talking
it.
about.
I interviewed
Distinct.
you for me, so either whoever gets what, I know I got stuff out of it.
Are you-
Anyways, so that's the last one.
Hey,
I'm
what are,
like,
like-
I don't know how to end a video, so
Oh,
I
you should
usually
wave.
just tell people to wave and say bye and say whatever.
Goodbye.